The richly varied shades and textures of ink have rendered this remarkable nocturnal scene of a pine forest. The shimmering streams beneath twinkling stars lend a poetic enchantment to the ragged landscape. The centralness of the mountains in the daytime seems to resonate in the moonlit vision pulsating with rhythm. The countless pine trees in the Huangshan Mountains stand as a powerful presence in this misty night. The pine forest in the mists was composed by Huang Binhong in the 1940s. He was in his 70s when he created this undisputed masterpiece in China's landscape art of the 20th century. It is the meticulously layered application of ink that has infused the scenery with an unparalleled luster. The intimate understanding of the medium gained over his decades-long career earned him a place among the 20th century's greatest painters.
墨法这东西是一个千变万化的，其实说穿了都是一种灵魂的东西。
墨法正显现了中国文化的这样的一种人格特性，中国人的宇宙观。而对于墨法的展现，尤其是对于积墨的展现，成为黄宾虹，或者说我们后来欣赏黄宾虹山水的一个标志。
In the 1940s, the Shifuma Hutong in Beijing was home to Huang Binhong. The venerable master had an illustrious career, both as a painter and as publisher of fine art books and journals. In the 1930s, with the imminent Japanese aggression, Huang Binhong was invited to the Palace Museum to evaluate its fine art collection for wartime relocation. In these turbulent years, he devoted himself to the ancient paintings. In these artworks, he sought a refuge from his broken homeland. This period saw Huang Binhong studying the works of ancient masters and contemplating the techniques of inkwash, demonstrated in the subtlety and sophistication of China's landscape art. The painstaking exploration and experimentation finally bore fruits, as Huang Binhong formulated the 7 methods of inkwash based on the works of his numerous predecessors. The varied density and texture, as well as the nuanced application of his inkwash vocabulary, all blended into a systematic artistic approach. It encompasses every imaginable possibility of this time-honored medium.
在山水画的这种格趣和方法都得到了系统的总结之后，如果仅仅停滞于此，黄宾虹就不是黄宾虹了。
This renewed understanding of China's cultural essence laid the foundation for Huang Binhong's revolutionary transformation of his artistic style. The Huangshan Mountains in eastern China has long been a source of inspiration for Huang Binhong. He paid 9 visits to the region and had been fascinated by the moonlit scenery. The elusive shadows in nocturnal mist seem to animate and enliven both the night view and the artist's psyche. The proud pine trees bathed in moonlight embody the profound spirit of Chinese culture, a most enduring motif for Huang Binhong. In the 1940s, in the wake of 2 devastating world wars, all peoples of the East and the West were faced with the most trying times. Huang Binhong wrote, "Art is the crystallization of spiritual civilization. The blight of the modern world is the decline of human spirituality. Therein lies the way to renew the world." In the poetic inkwash of Oriental art tradition, Huang Binhong has identified the power of solace and renewal. As his brush touched the paper, Huang Binhong found the images of towering pine trees and graceful mists pouring from his heart and manifesting themselves through the ink. As the varied shades spread and extend, Huang Binhong kept building layer after layer of inkwash. The amorphous spots and stretches merged together to present the cosmic scope of human spirituality at its most profound.
黄宾虹最大的特色就是墨法有的最好，尤其这是素墨的东西啊，容易脏，点上去以后啊，痕迹特别重。你要是画不好了，就显得个乌涂一片，所以别人是很少用，他敢用。
《万松烟霭》这部作品是黄宾虹晚年黑宾虹时期的代表作品。就是把所有的山水已经脱离了具体的形制，进入一种感觉的世界，干裂秋风，润寒春雨。
万松烟霭表现的是传统文化历久弥新、历久弥坚的这样的一种形态。半个多世纪，我们再看黄宾虹，它越来越显现它的价值，而这样的一种对于东方文化的自信，在今天也越来越为我们所认同。
Huang Binhong has always been a firm believer in the national character conveyed through inkwash. He summed up his style as profundity and exuberance, which he understood to be the nature of the Chinese pursuit of an enlightened spirituality. This image has inspired the fireworks spectacle at Beijing Winter Olympic Games, when the world came to appreciate the moral harmony and the cosmopolitan inclusiveness of Chinese wisdom. In the ink-wash imagery, the Oriental contribution to the world is immortalized and becomes eternal. In the ink-wash resides the national character of Chinese painting.